Hey everybody, welcome to the Happy Harvest Homestead. It's been a long time since I have made a rabbit video, so I figured I should update you on what we finally decided to do with the 2 remaining meat rabbits that we have. If you don't remember, all of our meat rabbits have passed away from one thing or another, except for Acrobat and Leah, and I've chronicled that through the past months and years. But our breeding buck was one of the rabbits to most recently die, so we're now stuck with 2 does and no buck, and I've been really discouraged and frustrated, and I just really want to throw up my hands and give up and put all my time and effort into things that are actually working, like meat chickens instead of meat rabbits. I have 3 wonderfully successful batches of Astrolorp chicks that we hatched with our own rooster and own hens in our own incubator, and they are alive and growing and getting bigger and more meaty, and that is being so successful, and it took so little effort, and it's so much easier than the meat rabbits. So a large part of me is just ready to transition over to meat chickens instead. But I've been working so long and so hard on breeding hardy rabbits, and these are the results. Both of these girls have extensive pedigrees of rabbits that I have been breeding, and these are the best of the best in being hardy and healthy, in being good moms, and producing on a cheap, natural diet of fresh weeds and plants and hay. While I have recently given in and started buying pellets for these 2 because I've been so sick and haven't had the time or energy to be harvesting plants every day. They have gone for years on just plants, so I know they do really good with that. So it seems silly and really sad to just throw it all away because it's hard. But I've thought that way for so long, and obviously we are not having success with the rabbits, and I'm sure I could get a whole bunch of cages and a whole bunch of New Zealand whites and feed them pellets and keep them separate and have better success by raising rabbits like everybody else. But with my specific goals and ethics, I have chosen not to do that, and I don't think I'll ever do that. So for us, it's looking like chickens are going to be the much better option. Things may be different though if I ever get better from being so sick. And part of me is afraid of just being sad and tired and either butchering or selling or giving to our friends these 2 wonderful does who I've worked so hard on, and if I just give it all up, then if I'm better and I want to start doing meat rabbits again, or I have a new idea or a new way of doing things, then I'll have to start from scratch from random rabbits again and have to go through all the work of breeding and having weak rabbits or sick rabbits or bad moms and going through all the stress and hassle that I've gone through for years and years already. So I don't really quite want to give up on the possibility of meat rabbits quite yet. But obviously we're not breeding meat rabbits now because we have no buck, and I've kind of been looking for like a really good quality buck, but any rabbit I get is going to be a complete new thing, so I'll have to breed and cull for things and go through all that hassle with any new rabbit I get, buck or doe, and I'm not up for that right now. So after much consideration, my current plan is these 2 does are going to get a break. They're going to have a very extended season of rest. We will not get any more meat rabbits, and these girls will just live like pets in a colony, and I'll keep feeding them pellets, and they're going to go through this entire breeding season without being bred, and then maybe next year, fall of 2024, things will be different and I'll change my mind, and we can see if they get pregnant and we can start up meat rabbits again. Or I could officially decide that I'm done with meat rabbits forever, and at that point, I give them away, or sell them, or butcher them. Because I'm going to be forcing them to take a very unnatural long break, and also considering their maturity, it is very possible that when I try to breed them again, they'll have a hard time, or maybe they won't breed at all, but they could be just fine, or I could try really hard, get 1 litter out of them, and then keep those babies and have those be our new core breeders. So even though it may be harder in the future, I don't think it'll be too hard. So I decided this a little while ago, and I've been just living with it and thinking about it and seeing how I'm feeling, and I mean, it's only October, so if a couple weeks ago When I first decided this, I felt really bad about the decision. I could have changed my mind and gotten a buck real quick, and it would have been a late start to the breeding season, but we could have had a pretty full breeding season. But as the days have gone on, I feel more comfortable with this decision. It feels good and right and okay. And the girls seem to be coping fairly well with this drastic change in their life. They are used to a full colony and natural food and having a buck that's available to breed them whenever they want. And thankfully they still have each other, but Jezzalia especially doesn't seem the happiest. She's more aggressive and kind of standoffish, and her and Acrobat get on fairly well, but I do notice some fur pulled from fighting around the colony more often than I used to. So I can tell they're not perfectly content like they were before, which makes sense because this is very unusual for them, and it's unnatural for rabbits in general. And because they've been living a natural way for so long, going back to unnatural is obviously unnatural for them. But thankfully, other than a bit of a difficult transition, they're doing really well. Their molt is finally ending, so their new fur is growing in, so they look a lot less scraggly. And they're getting nice and fat with thick dewlaps, which is always a good thing to see, though I'm afraid they may get too fat with not breeding over winter and being fed pellets, but we'll see about that. I'm trying to limit them each to 1 cup of pellets a day, which I believe is what you're supposed to feed dry does and bucks, though it's been so long that I may be off on that. And health-wise, they are doing super good as well. Even though they were exposed to the exact same things that Adelvice and Henry were, they did not die, they did not get sick, they did not get skinny, they are plump and healthy and acting normal, and they just look so good right now, and that makes me so happy knowing that all my hard work of breeding for healthy, hardy rabbits is working. You may remember that both Henry and Adelvice were new rabbits that I brought on the homestead, and they were the first generation of that line, so it was a complete gamble with them. And they did really good for a while, but in the long term, I guess they were just not up to living a good natural life like these girls are, because they are doing absolutely wonderful health-wise, which makes me so, so happy. So that's the update. I know I have not posted a lot of rabbit content lately, and I probably won't be posting a lot of current rabbit content in the future either, because there's not much happening. But I still have a lot of knowledge about rabbits, so if ideas or thoughts come in my head, maybe I'll just make a video about rabbit stuff in general. And I probably will put the girls on camera every once in a while, just so you know they're still alive and doing good. Unless, of course, they're not and terrible things happen, then I'll chronicle that as well. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video, which will probably be about goats or something random. Bye.